is Cristiano Martincigh. He's the regional director for Southern Europe, Middle East and Africa at Copperleaf. He holds a degree in statistics, and he has spent almost his entire career serving asset-intensive customers offering enterprise software solutions. In November 2022, he joined Copperleaf, and with his team, he takes care of proposing a new way of strategic decision-making by offering asset investment planning solutions. So please join me giving a welcome to Cristiano. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Nuno. Good afternoon, everybody. This afternoon, I will try to make with you a journey and introduce you what is the optimized asset investment planning and how we can use an optimized asset investment planning to maximize value and meet strategic goals. Just a couple of words about myself. Well, Nuno already told that I've joined Copperleaf in November 22. And since the very beginning, I got in contact with Nuno, also with Adolfo and all the other CONGREGA teammates. For this reason, I feel like I start getting in touch with this event since the very beginning, and I'm very proud, happy, and excited to be here today. We started talking about this event a long time ago when it was just an idea in the mind of these great guys, and so I'm really happy to see this idea getting real and to be part of the idea. Just a few words about the company, my company, the company that pays my salary. So Copperleaf, it's a Canadian software company specialized in enterprise decision analytics. So we offer a suite that helps companies to take investment decisions. We are a global company, about 600 people all around the world. We are covering with our presence all the globe, all the 5 continents, and we had a strong growth in the last years. If we look at our customers, the main thing that all our customers have in common is that they are all asset-intensive customers. So we are proud to say that with our customers, we are managing worldwide trillions of dollars of assets. If we look at the industries, well, it's interesting. Look how we started in the very beginning working with utilities. So we have a strong footprint in energy utilities, so gas and electricity, transmission and distribution. We have a strong footprint in water, but in the last 5 years, we extend our presence also to many other industries like rail, roads, like oil and gas, chemicals, pharma, ports, airports. And this is why, before offering an exceptional product, we offer and we propose a completely different way of making strategic decisions. And this is what I want to explain to you today. So I don't want to focus on the product, even if it will be hard sometimes to distinguish between the product and the approach, but I want to focus more on a new way that asset-intensive company has to choose to making strategic decisions on their assets and their investments. To start thinking about this, let's start from, thinking about why is making investment decisions a challenge. First of all, because it's hard to get aware which are the real benefits, financial and non-financial benefits. So financial benefits are somehow easier to be calculated, but non-financial benefits are something that companies are struggling to get aware. And it's really hard to compare the similar investments, the one to the other. This is particularly belongs in particular because there is no capability of link between investment and strategic objectives. Okay, so there is no quantitative link between strategic objectives and our investment plan. It takes a lot of time. Companies have to spend a lot of time and a lot of effort to managing data and crunching numbers, but also to deal between the different internal departments to being able to create a final investment plan. And this drives to the fact that sometimes companies doesn't take data-driven decisions, but there are many other, drivers like intuition, advocacy, internal or external stakeholders that put pressure and prioritize the decisions without having a clear data-driven approach. This makes very difficult for internal stakeholders to defend their portfolio decisions in front of internal and external arguments, and of course makes everything really hard once we have to change our mind. So when something changes inside or outside the company, it's really hard if you don't have a structured approach to your strategic decisions to change your mind quickly. All these problems drive to an inconsistent process that makes everything harder and reduce the confidence in decisions. I want to try to play a small game with you, and let's put ourselves in the shoes of an investment planner. Okay, we will have 3 projects. While I'm talking, please, I kindly ask you to connect to www.menti.com and enter the code, or even scan the QR code. I will ask you to kindly choose which of these 3 projects you want to go first. Let me just explain each project. So we will have some clear and expected data, like the cost, which can be almost fixed or at real expected, and the timeline, which once more can be fixed or expected. But we will have completely different benefits between one project and the other. So if we think about the first project, which can be a refurbished project, we will have an OPEX saving, we will have a lower chance of supply interruption, but we will have no safety improvement, we will have a medium reduction of carbon emissions, and we will have an impact on our customer satisfaction. Project B is developing from scratch a new plan, okay? So it will take 2 years. We will have no OPEX saving. OPEX will probably increase. We will have a lower chance of supply interruption, lower chance of fatalities, and we will have an increase in reducing carbon emissions and reducing the customer impact. Last, it's not a refurbish, but a replace of a part of our pipeline, and we'll have an OPEX saving, an important OPEX saving, because we will have replaced, but we will have also a strong impact on the customer satisfaction. This was just an example. I will ask you kindly to answer which one is the project you will follow. If you look at your Menti screenshot, you can also look at the details of each project clicking on it. So please take your time to answer. Don't be biased by someone else. Take your time. The board gives you 10 seconds more, so you have 10 seconds to answer. Okay, let's stop the answers. As you can see, there is a majority, but it's not so clear which one is the best project to start. So we are still struggling between project B and project C. So the next question I have for you is, how did you choose? Which one was the driver you used to take the decision? Once more, don't look at the big screen to don't be biased. Just think about how did you choose. I love the random choice, the transparency. We love transparency. Thank you for. Okay, 34, 36. I think we reached out to 39 before, so we are almost there. Okay, once more, interesting that OPEX saving is the main driver. It makes completely sense. But once more, it's not we don't have a clear driver of the decision. So we have a majority, but not a clear driver. Last but not least, the last question I want to ask you is, how did that feel? I mean, if you can describe how was taking decisions starting from this few data we had, and if you can, answer with, okay. Very well. Keep going. I love the business as usual, because it means that there is some need for you, so some room for us. But I mean, okay, we're almost there. I think that even in this case, we can grab a lot of interesting information. So. Confused, risk, doubting, insecure, difficult, foolish, difficult to time, challenged, misinformed, low information, in doubt, rushed. So it's clear that it was hard to take a decision. It was hard finding a clear driver. And we were speaking of 3 projects. So let's think about what will happen when, the number of projects will be higher. So I would expect to go back to the presentation. So what happened when, like in every company, we have to choose between 100 or 1,000 of projects. So we need a different approach to take a decision, to make a decision. So we need to, to pass from artisanal to a processed and structured approach to making decisions. The key, I think it's clear, is value. So value will be one of the most important words in this presentation. But value as the starting point for a value-based decision-making approach. Okay? So what I want to introduce you is what we mean for value-based decision-making, okay? Which are the steps that we have to go through to be sure that we put value, real value for our company at the center of every decision. So basically, value-based decision-making is all about creating a plan, an investment plan, so a plan that puts together investments and projects on our assets, which must be objective, data-driven, efficient and agile, and will enable us to create an investment that is high value, brings the higher value for our company, is defendable, so must be every time able to give us transparency, and must be deliverable. So we don't want a wish list, but we want something which is real, which can be really performed in our company. This is all about having a value-based decision-making approach. So we have summarized it in 5 steps. Of course, in reality, it could be more complex, but let's just keep it as a recap of 5 main steps we have to perform to be sure that we create the highest value plan that at some time meets the strategic objectives and is able to give us a transparent, defendable, and repeatable process. Okay? So, once more, first step, the most important one probably, the concept of value. Let's go back to what is value. If we go internally in our company and we ask what is value, we will probably receive a bunch of different answers. So if we ask to someone who is in charge of ESG topics, he will ask probably carbon emission reduction. If we ask to someone, to the COO, he will say efficiency. If we ask to someone who is in finance, we'll say shareholder value, sustainment, OPEX reduction. So value will change accordingly to who will answer to this question. And for this reason, the first step for having a value-based decision-making approach is to create the so-called value framework. Okay, so we have to define through an economic framework what is real value for our company. Okay, so each company will have a dedicated value framework that explains and translates somehow the idea of value in an economic scale. Okay, if we look at an example, a real example, what we have to do is keep the strategic objectives that can be, for example, environment, social, governance, finance, reliability, and try to make them measurable. Okay, this is the step we have to do in our decision-making, value-based decision-making approach. So we have to be able to create measures that allow us to, consider our strategic objectives. We can go through traditional measures like CAPEX, OPEX, or in reliability, SAIDI, SAIFI, but we can also take in consideration, SG value measures like, carbon emissions, number of electrical vehicles, health and safety risk, customer satisfaction, anything else which is not pure strategic, not pure financial, sorry, but is strategic for our company. So value framework is nothing else than putting together our strategic objectives, make them measurable, and having a single way to evaluate different projects. If we think at, as a process, we will have our strategic objectives at the top. We will have data. We have to agree some definitions. And then, through the measures, we will be allowed to compare completely different investments, the one to the other, on a common economic scale. This will allow us not just to compare, apples with oranges, but even apple with giraffes or with any other dimension or any other investment that we have to manage in our company. So the first step is create an engine, basically, that starting from our strategic objectives is able to compare the different investments and put them on a common economic scale. The second step is to define which are the projects we want to evaluate. Okay, we can have a look of the asset sustainment if we are an asset-intensive company which has a problem on their asset sustainment. We can look at growth, increase our revenue, or acquiring a new network pipeline plan, everything which is related to grow. We can look at strategic transformation. This is something really important for all the energy company, for example. Or we can look at ESG, which became even more important in today's situation. So we have established a value framework. We have defined which project we want to evaluate. Now, as we want a project, a plan that must be reliable and must be, executable, we have to set constraints and targets. So we want to set constraints. We want to say, okay, we have a constraint of costs, of resources, of timing. So we want to set constraints and targets to be able to optimize and create an optimized plan. Okay, what we are missing is the time horizon. It could be a 2 years, 5 years, 100 years time. Okay, and what we will get is a plan optimized that is able to show us which is the value we can get from that plan. Okay, value in a pure economic scale, which is what is value for that company. Once we reach out to this point, we can play around scenarios, and we can, at this point, optimize and work with the so-called what-if scenario analysis. So we have defined what is value for our company, we have created a plan, and now we can play with the plan saying, okay, but what if CAPEX will be reduced by 10%? What if we want to reach out to net zero emission in 2038 instead of 2040? This will allow companies to take strategic decisions with a simulation on how they can face uncertainty on the future. So a simulation on how things can change when something outside of the company will change. Of course, we said that this must be, a repeatable process. So in real life, things change. So there will be some emergent work, some projects will be delayed, we will go cost overrun, or priorities will change. So this is a process that must not be done one time, but must be, repeated every time. We think it's better having an optimized plan to take strategic decisions. So at the end of this process, we will have a transparent and defendable plan, and we will be improved our decision making agility. If we summarize what we can get through a value-based decision-making approach, we can for sure understand value, which is the key, okay? Value is what allows us to compare different dimensions, understand costs, benefits, real benefits, not just financial ones, and link decision to strategic objectives, to be sure that we are taking decisions in a data-driven way. Understand value, it's based on, our strategic objectives, and gives us the capability of evaluate what is important for our company. It goes over a pure financial dimension about our value, internal value. Another important thing is increasing governance. Once you move from not structured artisanal approach to a more, structured approach, you will get more trustability, okay? Communication will flow better. And it's quite common for the customers that embrace this approach to get a great value, even just providing rules on how investment must be managed and collected together, okay? So we have a bunch of experience when just providing rules and, create a process to collect all the investments, put them together, create the so-called single source of truth, gives a lot of value to our customers. The next step, we can pass through all the steps and the workflow management, but it's important to have agility. Agility allows you to change your mind and to face even changes that can come from outside. We are living interesting times, so there are a lot of things changing outside of our company or inside. So markets, climate change, geopolitical crisis, or industrial crisis. So having always a value framework that helps us create a scenario analysis will help us face uncertainty with a higher level of confidence in making strategic decisions. So it's important to planning agility because, being able to quickly respond to some changes that can, be driven from inside or from outside, it really allows company to survive sometimes. Last but not least, this approach gives us full transparency. Okay, we can communicate with stakeholders, internal and external. We can always be sure that we are able to provide an explanation on why we took that strategic decision. Okay. Now I will try to, pass from theory to reality. So explain you some examples of customers that embrace this approach. I've chosen them, from different countries and different industries. So we will have, a journey between different experience. I will start from Germany. This is a company, a multi-utility company from the region of Cologne, and they are managing together electricity, water, and gas. Okay, so they had two kinds of silos internal to manage internally. A siloed approach on single line of businesses, which you can see as a vertical silos, but also an horizontal silos by asset owners, asset managers, and asset services. Okay, they want to embrace a value-based decision-making approach to try to break down those silos and get, corporate decisions managing all the investment at a corporate level. Okay, what they can get from this, it was a clear benefit in create transparency and manage everything like without avoiding the problem of who speaks louder gets more money. So they start handling everything in a more transparent but also efficient way. Another experience is with CONGREGA. CONGREGA is a gas transmission company from France. They realized an approach through the value-based decision-making for their portfolio. Okay, they work on starting from the asset needs to try to optimize and organize their investments to be sure that at the end they are always choosing the projects with a higher value. Okay, they worked in two dimensions. The first dimension was to reduce the time, so they could really, improve their planning capabilities through this solution, but also be sure that they were always identifying the projects with the higher value. They told us that even avoiding to execute the projects with low value gave them such a saving in money that they could immediately save more than 6% of their yearly budget in TOTEX. Another experience is with Irish Water. They manage the solution for their water and wastewater business. They are the main water company in Ireland. They approach the value-based decision-making project in 3 steps. So they want to get the basic right, then they want to increase maturity, so start working and handling these kind of things, and to be ready to change the game. So they want to really change their process internally to, once more, be sure that they were able to create value for all the supply chain. So starting from the process, reach out to the people, okay? Passing through data, technology, and value. So the benefit they get, meet strategic goals with a lower level of effort to manage all the different phases of the process. A couple of experience more. In Argentina, we work with WPF, who is a fully integrated oil and gas company producing oil and gas for the region, and they were really facing a big challenge with the change they have to face internally from government requirements, but even from cost of energy. So they improved, they implemented the value-based scenario analysis to being able to prevent uncertainty and to being able to face all the changes that they had during the last, 5 years. So they were proactively trying to handle things that would have changed during the time. So they really got aware that they need a single source of truth, being able to prevent them from macroeconomic changes. And what they get is, being able to react to a lot of changes and being able to understand trade-offs decisions between investment of all types. Last but not least, a Spanish customer that it's somehow present here. So Iredes is the third largest energy distribution company in Iberian Peninsula. It's part of EDP. They started very challenging journey. So leading the energy transition, they want to be net zero by 2040. And they embrace this value-based decision-making approach. And it's really clear the change they faced, passing from a previous prioritization process, which was manual and iterative, really inflexible, very resource and timing intensive. So they were never able to find the optimal solution. with this value-based decision-making approach, they had an automated approach, which, by the way, allowed them to work with all the what-if scenario analysis, but at the same time give them the assurance of being always compliant to the regulator, which, by the way, in Spain is quite, as you probably know, it's quite challenging. So this one was another experience showing us how much value-based decision-making approach will reduce time and increase capability in taking decisions. I'm almost on time, so I could recover a little bit, but I will be happy to continue the conversation with you. As I told you, we are really happy to be here to be sponsor of CONGREGA, and we have also a bunch of other sessions to manage during the next 2 days. So this afternoon, my colleague Zina will introduce you to the modular approach for modeling asset health and risk based on the SEMEA methodology. And later, Adolfo, that you probably all know, will speak about intelligent asset management solutions for integrated life cycle management. All of the team will wait for you tomorrow to play the so-called Copperleaf optimization game. It's like a role game that will help you try to put yourself in the shoes of investment planner and, try to understand the challenges and the risks that are related to this job. Last but not least, connect with us at the booth and have a chance to win an incredible Lego prize. Thank you very much.
Joe Amadi Echendo, University of Pretoria. Thank you very much for that presentation.
You didn't fall asleep, Joe. You said you.
No, I didn't fall asleep. Okay. That's the problem. I think the issue of value. I see you've got some way of describing value. Could you touch a little bit more on that? Because I think that's where often the challenge is defining that value in a more concrete way.
Yeah, you're 100% right. So this is also the most important part of every project, because it's the moment where we sit down with the customer and we develop together the so-called value framework. So we have to understand together, which is, really important from them, and how we can measure it starting from, the experience we have. The good thing is that we are working on this, asset investment planning space since a long time. So we already have more than 300 models developed for different industries, which means that once we sit down with the customer to define what is value for him, we can leverage on this big experience, and we can somehow help him, defining what's the real value for the company. Okay, it's really a work we have to do together to define. Mainly the key is, I will once back go there, but it's take the strategic objectives and make them measurable, which is the most important part of the process. Sorry for this. I will arrive there. Okay. Bunch of more clicks, but this is the main part. Okay, so define what is real value for the companies, for our customers, and we sit down together, and dealing with them, we create this, which is the value framework, the engine, the core of the solution, which allows us then to work on constraints, work on targets, work on everything which is related to the optimization of the solution. This is the most important and tricky part, and I'm sure that maybe Miguel beyond you can confirm. That
the reason why I'm pushing you on this question is I can define value from a project point of view, but defining value from a service point of view becomes very difficult, because when you deliver the project, value is not something that you measure at a snap in time. It's a continuous measure. So when you have this definition with them, okay, let's go ahead and do the project, but then you finish, they say, but we're not satisfied. So clearly the value, I'm just pushing you a little bit.
Here we are speaking more at the tactical, strategical point of view. So you have to think about the projects in the future, and you have also to think about when is the best moment to start a project, looking at the value that this project will give you during the time. So we expect value is not, a single point. It's like a line, and in our case, the system is able to take care of which is the best moment to develop a project, to start a project, considering all the other projects. It's something like, the game we did at the beginning, so it's hard to define which is the best. So the solution that the system gives you takes in consideration which is the best moment to start a project accordingly to the value related to the same project.
Thank you for your presentation. João Rosário from Aeroportos. My question is, how difficult was it from these examples that you've shown to define the value in these companies, which I understand from my company it will be quite difficult, but how difficult was it, and I wouldn't say how many iterations there were, but how did you get to the final stage of it? And then the other question is, in these cases, which I believe they are fairly recent, if you have any example that that has started long ago, is what is the period we need to, as everything that we have, we need to revise and reanalyze the value of the because this works for the reality that we have now. What is the time frame that we should, or that it's normally used, or that you are, in your experience, have to revise all this value? What are the criteria to revise the value from each company?
Okay. Thank you for the question. First of all, how difficult it was. I already said that this is the most important part. So I don't want to say difficult, I want to say crucial, because it's really important. Once more, the good point is that we never start from scratch. And, we can start from models that we have already developed, and we can also start from strategic objectives that our customers have already developed. For example, I don't know, we are working with a bunch of airports all around the world, so we can start from the strategic objectives of other customers and customize the value framework on your specific needs, because every customer has his specific needs. So once more, it's the most important part, so I don't want to say that it's easy, because, I'm a salesman, but not so much a salesman. But at the same time, it's something that really brings value to the company, because it makes them think about what is important. So it's, it's like a training on the job even for our customers to get aware what is important. And speaking about, how often you run the process, it depends a lot on how you are, how is your internal process. Typically, our customer run it every quarter or every 6 months. Some of those will run it yearly, because they have to create the plan for the next 4 years every year. Some of them run it monthly, because they want to be sure that their investment plan is always optimized. So it depends a lot on the frequency for our customers. I would answer quarterly probably as the most common solution.
Okay, thank you. Just to with the definition of value, you showed the same scale on different aspects. So on that, do you have do you define, or is it possible to define a unique value which comprises everything, or and for doing so, is there any of those aspects are weighted, or if it's more important ESG, it's more important the financial part, or is it not possible to have one total value for all the company, and you have to have 5, 7, 8 values, let's say, for the company?
To make the investments comparable the one between the other, we have one single value, but we can develop different value frameworks for the same company. okay? Which means that there could be some line of business or some assets that have a peculiar value framework, and some others where, you know, ESG is maybe more important, can have a different value framework. The other thing we can work on are weights. So into the same value framework, we can apply different weights to be sure that, you know, at some point our strategic objectives slightly change. We want to have more focus on ESG, so we can weight more all the ESG value measures, and this will drive you to give more importance to investments that have an impact on ESG. So the idea is having always a single common scale to compare different investments, but you know, we have to take in consideration the portfolio hierarchy and also the difference between asset types, so maybe the fact that we will use different value frameworks or different weights for the same company.
Okay, thank you.